My first teacher among them was my father, who started his business in the depths of the Depression in June of 1932. Now, my parents were in love. When they got married, they had 2 straight chairs, an orange crate, 1 plate, a knife, a fork, and a spoon. And when they ate dinner, they put the plate between them on the orange crate and traded the silverware back and forth. It was him who made very clear to me, never leave a job unless you have a new one. Keep your bills paid. Buy something only when you cannot get along without it. And when I asked Dad about how I would ever raise 3 children in today's world, he looked in one direction, I was looking in another direction, so it was a typical conversation between 2 men, a close conversation. I looked over here, he looked at me out of the corner of his eye, and he said, teach them to work, because if they know how to work, they will take care of themselves. Now that's powerful to me. So powerful that in my opinion, work is the price of success. Use that 4-letter word, work. Never try to do something, work to do something. To try always implies that failure is a possibility. To work does not entertain failure. And then find joy in your work. This is my 47th year in higher education. I've barely had time to work because I have had such a joyful experience. If you find joy even in the humblest things, and you use paste wax, you'll always find it to be rewarding. One of the first things I did in college was to join my fraternity. Now, there are 3 general principles that we all need to live by, man or women. And that is simply to treat other people honestly, to be conscientious in what you say and you will do, and to treat others that you will be treated. In my fraternity, that's called virtue, diligence, and brotherly love. In other fraternities, it's called love, truth, and honor, or truth, temperance, and tolerance. All of the groups have cardinal principles. They all point to the same thing: to do your best, to live your best life. I was in a singing fraternity. This is a picture I took in 1961, and those are my brothers on the front porch of our fraternity house. I know one of the songs they were singing was If I Had a Hammer. Here's the current chapter at Illinois New. And above them is a quote which is important to me. You want to get your grades? Well, get your homework done. This is a quote from Ulysses Grant Duboc, one of the longtime visionaries in Sigma Phi Epsilon. I can tell you a story about each of those men, because each of those men are like sons to me. Fraternity done right is very important. Young men know the right thing to do. All they need is the affirmation that they can do it, that they have the resources within them to do what they need to do. That it makes it easy for a young man to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong thing. We all have the same temptations today that Jesus did, as Matthew wrote about him in chapter 4. Now, we don't know much about Jesus, except that we saw him in front of the chief priests in the temple at the age of 12. And then he went through the desert, and he was tempted by the devil. And he started his ministry near the age of 30. Isn't that interesting? For the college students in this room, you're just at the age when Jesus was walking through the desert being tempted by the devil, and you're being tempted by the selfsame things. I wonder if there is a connection. Ritual is important. Rites of passage, affirmations of development. But ritual, if it has something to do with brotherhood, is important. Because if you remove respect for self, if you remove respect for others, if you no longer take responsibility for your actions, the R is removed from brotherhood, and all we have left is botherhood. Botherhood. I can tell when somebody has had a fraternity experience and they have experienced brotherhood, as opposed to someone who had a fraternity experience and they have had botherhood. Because they will tell me, I was a Phi Kappa Tau in college, instead of saying, I am a Theta Chi. And it makes a big difference. Present tense, past tense. Listen for that. I know that faculty advisors make a difference. This contains a record across 40 semesters of time, simply counting whether the fraternities on this campus have been above or below the all-men's GPA. And if you can't guess, there's only one of these fraternities that has had a faculty advisor all that time. Faculty advisors make a difference. Now, for the faculty members in this room, where are you? You are needed. For the faculty members, did I say advisors? I have so many teachers to give thanks. These are just a few. From the first grade teacher who calmed my temper tantrums in first grade, to my doctoral level teachers who gave me the passion for research that you know I have. All I do is pass on what they taught me. And to my mentors, Dr. Eugene J. Check from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, who after 21 years of formal education on my part, finally taught me how to write. He took a 12-page report, condensed into 6, and showed me how to condense it to 6. And it's something that I work to teach you every day. And to John Robeson, the editor of the SIGEP Journal, my longtime mentor of many years, who instilled his vision for Sigma Phi Epsilon in my heart, and for whom I could never, ever repay the kindness, the love that he unstintingly gave to me. This is one of his favorite quotes. When a group of young men come together, even if there be no one to teach them, the conversation of all becomes a series of lectures to each. And each one learns new ways of doing, thinking, and judging day by day. Now, if you've ever been in a Newman Center on a college campus, then you know the author, John Henry Cardinal Newman, The Idea of the University, 1853. Now, make a difference in student lives. That's your charge. As an older person, you must overcome your fear of age and relevance and take the risk to work with students on the student's own turf. Probably the largest social, emotional, psychological gap on a university campus is the place where I stand and the place where you sit, because of the sheer number of faculty members who will not take the risk to walk with students while students are learning and wrestling with their own issues. We are not just two-dimensional people. Faculty members have a great deal to offer to students besides their academic expertise, but they must offer it. Integrated learning means that faculty engage with students as much on their turf as students engage with faculty in classrooms, offices, and laboratories. Teachable moments occur at any moment in students' lives, not just during faculty office hours. My faculty numbers, my home number, and my cell phone, gee whiz, now my text messaging, are all on my phone. Having little to do with faculty's, teachable moments have little to do with faculty interests, but with nurturing the interests that students have for their subject. Our job is to excite them in what they wish to learn. And if it happens to be related to our academic expertise, all the more helpful, all the more exciting. To me, I serve, therefore I am. Service, to me, integrates research and teaching. And rather than placing teaching and research, then service, if we could just turn that paradigm around, I think higher education would be far, far more vibrant than it presently is. Did my fraternity brothers get it right in 1962? This is a character, a traveling chalk artist. And this says scholar, civic historian, humanitarian. When the chalk artist drew my head, and I walked out of the room and the brothers told me, and the brothers told the artist about me, I could barely contain my disappointment when this is what I saw in 1962. Now I think maybe my fraternity brothers knew me better than I did. Remember your roots. This is my final thought. Remember your roots. The university, especially a state university like Eastern Illinois University, is a philanthropy. Your education is subsidized every year by the taxpayers of the state of Illinois. And in your graduation years, you owe your alma mater to return that money to the alma mater. Because you will never outlive the benefits you receive from her in terms of your education, your inspiration, and your life. Thank you so much. Did we survive?